There comes a moment in every person's life when silence becomes the most powerful answer. You don't argue, you don't chase, you don't beg to be understood. You simply step back and let time do what your words never could. When someone hurts you, disrespects you, or takes you for granted, your first instinct might be to react, to explain your worth, to prove your loyalty, to make them realize what they lost. But that's where the weak fall and the strong rise. Because those who live by Stoic wisdom understand one simple truth. Time is the greatest revealer, the quietest teacher, and the most ruthless judge. You see, when you walk away with calmness instead of chaos, you plant a seed in their mind. They might not notice it at first. They might laugh, think they have moved on, think you were easy to replace. But time works differently. It strips away the illusions. The attention they once craved starts to fade. The people who seemed exciting begin to feel empty. And slowly, the silence you left behind begins to echo. They start to remember your calmness, your consistency, your peace. They remember how you didn't need to argue to prove a point, how your presence used to bring balance, how your absence now brings chaos. And while they're realizing all this, you're not watching, not waiting, not hoping. You're evolving, you're building, you're becoming stronger. That's the beauty of Stoicism. It's not about revenge. It's about transcendence. It's about learning to let go of what you cannot control and finding strength in what you can. Your response, your focus, your purpose. You understand that chasing people who walked away is like running after shadows. It only exhausts you and leads nowhere. So instead, you do the one thing most people can't. You stand still in your silence. You let them feel the weight of losing you, not through anger, but through absence. Because nothing humbles the careless like time. And the longer they go without you, the more it hurts. Not because you punish them, but because life itself becomes the teacher. They begin to see what peace truly meant when it was around them. And by the time they realize it, you're not the same person anymore. You've grown beyond the version they left behind. The truth is, nothing transforms a person more than absence. Presence gives comfort, absence gives perspective. When you stop showing up, when your energy no longer surrounds them, they begin to see everything you once brought. The stability, the care, the calm. At first, they may fill the void with distractions, new faces, temporary excitement. But the soul knows what's real. And as time passes, everything else begins to feel shallow. You see, Stoics teach that detachment is not about not caring. It's about caring deeply for the right things. You don't detach because you're cold. You detach because you value your peace more than your pain. You understand that the only person you can control is yourself, and so you stop trying to force lessons onto others. You let reality teach them instead. And reality has a way of teaching through time. The same silence they once mocked becomes the sound of their regret. The same peace they took for granted becomes the chaos they now crave. You don't have to say, "You'll miss me." Life says it for you, slowly, quietly, brutally. Meanwhile, your silence isn't empty, it's productive. While they're busy looking back, you're building forward. You've stopped looking for closure because you've already given it to yourself. You've stopped chasing love because you've started becoming it. You're growing in ways they can't even recognize anymore. And that's when the true shift happens. Because time doesn't just break them, it refines you. Every day without them becomes a reminder that peace doesn't come from people. It comes from mastery over yourself. You start to realize that losing them wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It prepared you for a life where your happiness doesn't depend on being chosen, validated, or understood. It depends on how you respond when you're not. And the greatest response is calmness. Calmness when they reach out again. Calmness when they finally understand what they lost. Calmness when they try to return to the version of you that no longer exists. That calmness is the mark of transformation. It tells the world that time didn't just pass, it rebuilt you. Because here's the secret most people never learn. Time doesn't just heal wounds, it exposes character. It reveals who truly valued you and who only valued your presence. It shows who was strong enough to stay and who was weak enough to leave. And when you let time do its work, you no longer need to explain yourself. The silence speaks. The distance speaks. The growth speaks. By then, it's no longer about them missing you. It's about you no longer needing them. There will come a day when they finally understand, when they realize that the silence they once ignored was actually peace, when they see that the calm they mistook for weakness was in fact strength, when they recognize that the distance you created wasn't rejection, it was protection. But by then, you'll be too far ahead, too grown, too evolved to look back. And that's the irony of it all. You never set out to make them regret losing you. You just focused on healing, on improving, on finding yourself again. Yet the more you built your peace, the more their chaos grew. The more you accepted what was, the more they struggled with what could have been. That's how time works. It doesn't take sides, but it always reveals truth. Stoicism teaches us that everything temporary eventually collapses under its own weight. Lies, pride, ego, games, none of it lasts. Only authenticity endures. And when you choose to walk the Stoic path, to stay silent where others shout, to remain calm where others crumble, to grow where others gossip, you win the one victory that matters most. Mastery over yourself. You don't need revenge. You don't need them to come back. You don't need validation, because peace, once found, becomes its own reward. The longer they go without you, the more they understand that what they lost wasn't just a person, it was a feeling, a rare energy that cannot be replicated. And when they finally reach out, searching for the comfort you once gave so freely, you'll realize something profound. You no longer want what you once waited for. You've outgrown it. You've outgrown the pain, the patterns, and the need to be chosen. So, let time break them. Let silence teach them. Let distance show them what words never could. And as for you, walk forward with calmness in your heart and purpose in your step. Because the longer you stay focused on your growth, the more powerful your presence becomes. Remember, the Stoics never sought control over others. They mastered control over themselves. That's the secret. You don't lose when people leave. You lose when you abandon your own peace, trying to make them stay. So stand tall. Stay silent. Let time do its quiet work. Because one day, they'll remember you. Not for how you chased, but for how you walked away with grace. And by then, it won't hurt anymore. It will all make sense.